god. One Punch Man, episode 1. Fucking fantastic. Oh my god, I am so hyped right now. This episode was so damn good. I loved it. From start to end, I was like blown away. Madhouse has done it again. I am so glad that I can review this show for y'all because right now I definitely have to talk about this. So as the show is called One Punch Man, it's a tale about this hero named Saitama. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, but this guy is just way too strong. He can defeat anyone in one punch as he did throughout the entire episode. And I gotta say, even though that right there seems like maybe kind of boring about being, too overpowered, this guy is a beast and I love it. So we see now that in the beginning of the episode, we have some kind of creature, and I'm not gonna lie, it's like, to me, I was definitely reminded of like a purple Piccolo, but this guy was like called Vaccine Man, and we see him now laying waste to this town. And also, this city is like freaking huge. Now of course, with like all the destruction, you would need a lot of space, but to me it seemed like this city's like this city's like radius, to me it seems almost never ending, because you would think like all the destruction, most of it would like be destroyed, but no, that right there is not the case. It's only like certain portions that like seem rather small, especially when we get that overview of it. But we see now that like Vaccine Man, he was like laying waste to this city, and we see now that apparently this city, or the world actually, has like all of these heroes around that will like fight these threats. And we see at first that the ones that were going to fight at first were people called Lightning Max, and I believe the other one was Smile Man. And so we see now that we not even see their fight, but Vaccine Man actually lay waste to them, and we have Saitama now watching them, from his apartment, and of course now he's going out there. And so when we see that Vaccine Man, there was like this little girl who was like crying for her parents, and we see Vaccine Man kind of like power up as he actually like made his arm become much bigger. And then now when we see him closing on that girl and actually gripping her, I thought for sure that this girl was like gonna die, but no, luckily we have Saitama actually coming in there and saving her. And to me, I was like very impressed, because I thought for sure that like nobody would like make it in time, and that girl was like dead for sure. But that right there, I was definitely got to be wrong about. And so now we learned that Saitama, he's like mainly being a hero, just for fun. Like to him, it's not a job, but it's more like a hobby. And we see now that like Vaccine Man definitely did not like that, because he did not want to fight some half-ass hero. He had wanted to fight the real deal, and obviously crush him. And we see him now transforming, and so we see that people like going to attack Saitama. We see him punching him once, and that right there actually caused him to explode. And so we see now that Saitama, he was actually pretty disappointed that it took one punch to actually kill this thing. And to me, that right there was like that right there would definitely be a good thing, but to him it wasn't, because we learn now that Saitama, he is definitely right now in a rut, because at first he loved being a hero, but right now he feels almost nothing. He is empty, like an empty shell. And so now we get a flashback of 3 years ago, where he first became a hero, but that right there was like not really the task that like he had in mind when he got older, because we see now that the first creature that we learn about, back then in the past, it was like some half crab, half human man. And to me it was like definitely kind of weird seeing that at first, but this creature, or I believe he called himself Crab Mantle or something like that. But we see now that he obviously killed people, and we have all these other people, running away. But Saitama, he was like actually like crazy enough to actually stay there. And we see now that like this guy, he was like having no real luck, because right now he did not have a job. He actually had an interview today, but of course, they have rejected him. And so right now he was like kind of depressed. And we see that the Crabman, he was like actually going to let him go, because right now his real target was like some kind of a big chin brat, as they call them. And we even have Saitama actually come across this kid. And now when he said big chin, I definitely was expecting that kid to have a chin like that. But when I saw that, I was like dying laughing. I could not believe it. And so we see now that the reason why this Crabman actually wants to kill this like little boy so badly is because he drew nipples on his body with like a permanent marker. And of course this guy can not either tell with those claws, and so he cannot even erase it off his body. And so to me, that right there was like kind of a dumb reason, but I was like definitely laughing throughout the entire thing. But we see now that, Saitama, because at first he was like going to like leave him alone, but of course he cannot let some kid die. And so right now he came back and saved the kid. And we even see now that like and we see this crab guy actually, beat up Saitama pretty well. But this guy, would not go down no matter what. And we even see now that at first he had wanted to be a hero, and right now he actually, remembered his long lost dream. And so we see him now getting ready to fight the crab monster. But of course, it definitely was not looking that well. But eventually, he actually uses tie to actually wrap around the crab man's eye. And when we see him pull, you just see all this stuff come out, and that was just so freaking nasty, because that right there was a lot. And at first I thought, it would like maybe never end, because that right there did go on for like quite a while. But eventually, once he had, killed, that crab man, because of course there is no way in the world you're like coming back from that. That right there is where he had first started his training, and this guy trained so freaking hard. He actually became bald. And now to me, looking back at him from like 3 years ago compared to now, to me it seems like almost two different, people. But of course, they are the exact same person. And so now, ironically, 3 years later, after he had killed Vaccine Man, he actually went to like some market and actually bought some crabs. And right when he was like going to pay for them, once again we have another monster attacking the city, and this time it was like this gigantic man, and we see now some kind of like crazy scientist on his shoulder. And so we learn now that like these two are brothers, and the giant here had used to want to be the strongest man in the world. And his big brother, who was the crazy scientist, actually made some kind of like serve him the drink, which will like give him what he wanted. So now we see that the end result of that was the man that we saw walking around, crushing everything, with his feet. And so right now, this guy was naked, and that to me was like definitely disturbing, because at first I was wondering if he was or if he wasn't. But when I saw that cloud covering a certain area, that right there made it obviously clear that he was. And so we see now that the big brother, as he was called, the scientist, he actually wants to rule the world. And with his brains and obviously, his brother's brawn, with them, it will be possible. And so now we have Saitama now on the little brother's shoulder, and then we have the scientist, actually ordering his brother, to kill the man on his shoulder. And when I saw that he actually killed his own brother, it was obvious that even though that serum gave him strength, it obviously gave him no brains, as he killed his own brother. And so now we see that in a fit of rage, he actually, not only did he, throw Saitama into the ground, but he also unleashed this like massive fury of punches. And to be honest, it definitely, it definitely reminded me of like a Luffy attack, but we see now that this massive crater was like left, afterwards. And so right now, even though this guy finally got what he wanted, he felt nothing. Like, to me, it seemed like he definitely had, had some regret when it came to like drinking that serum. And then we have, Saitama, who is obviously alright, agreeing with him. And that right there, caused that right there made Saitama fly up and actually punch him once. And even though he did not die from that punch, he definitely got taken out by it, as we saw him laying on the ground unconscious. But I do wonder if this guy will go back to normal, because if he doesn't, then how in the world would they deal with him? Or maybe it is possible that punch did kill him out. Maybe that punch did actually kill him. But now after that, we have once again Saitama going to a market, to buy something. But this time another creature had appeared, and this time it was a car man. And it seems that and maybe it was just me, but it seems that Saitama definitely does not like jokes when it comes to his bald head, as he actually punched the guy after he made a joke about that, and of course that right there caused him to explode everywhere. But apparently this car man liked cars so much. I believe he said that he had decked himself out to become one, and that right there was a little strange to me. But after doing all this like easy work, he actually went home uninjured. So this guy definitely has some very, very high endurance, as he never got hurt from anything, and all he did was wash his uniform and took a bath. And so now we see that the following day, at least what we thought was the following day, we have some kind of creature actually breaking into his home and knocking him out of it. And so right now these creatures were called the Subterraneans, by the serpent people, but they call themselves true earthlings. And apparently they were so strong that no one could survive one of their punches. So so them and Saitama, they did have one thing in common. And so now we see that when they were fighting, to me this whole fight scene, it was nothing but hype, but I loved it because there were so many of them. And because of that, Saitama was actually once again able to find the joy of being a hero. But I gotta say, the animation was on point for this. And so eventually, there was one scene where we have them all ganging up on him, and they actually seem to do a pretty good hit. And that right there, sent him flying. And so of course they all thought that he was dead, but no, Saitama would not stay down, and he got back up, and they all continued to fight till eventually he had beat them all. But then we have their king coming up, and to me, I'm not sure how many of you guys played Final Fantasy 14 or mainly Heaven's Ward, but there was a boxing game called Ravana. And to me, that right there is what the king had, reminded me of. And so now we see that just when him and Saitama were going to fight, that right there is where he actually wakes up, and we learn that right there was all a dream. But it seems that to him that his dream might become a reality, where we have the true earthlings or the Subterraneans actually come up now, and we see that Saitama actually getting pretty hyped up. He actually went down there and took out the king in one hit, and we see now that when the followers noticed that, they all raised a white flag and just left. And I was dying, because obviously that right there was the perfect example of expectations versus reality. So of course Saitama definitely felt very, very left down, and that right there is where the episode kind of ended. But overall, to me, the episode was definitely fantastic. The opening and the ending as well, I love them both. The opening got me hyped, and the ending to me was surprisingly chill, very, very mellow. And we see now at the end there was some guy who apparently is a cyborg, especially from the arms and his eyes. Apparently this guy will be introduced next week, as it was called the lone cyborg for the title. And so right now, I'm definitely interested to see what this story goes. Normally, I will probably read the manga, but I will definitely wait till the anime is over because I am definitely enjoying this, and hopefully you guys are too. And please do not forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. And also let me know what you thought of the episode as well. But as always, you gotta take it easy. And I will see you all next time.